Welcome to another episode of Millennial Investing Explained. Here's today's question. I want to go into your book, Set for Life, a little bit here. In the very beginning of the book, you talk about 3 rules. And the first rule you say is that people must accumulate real assets that produce income and increase in value. And probably the first step that people must get right. What kind of advice would you give to a millennial who doesn't want to live, that practical life and would rather splurge or live in the moment?
You got to spend less, earn more, invest efficiently. And then I would actually add a fourth, which is you can create assets as well. But I think this is also another powerful lever. First step is spending less, right? Because the lower your lifestyle expenditures are, one, the easier it is to accumulate capital with which to invest. What advice would I give to somebody who doesn't want to spend less? Well, I'd say you can have it all. The average American spends half of their household expenditures are in housing and transportation alone. The 13% is in food spending, right? So if you're following along, that's 63% or almost 2/3 of your spending is just in 3 spending categories. Those are not the areas where you're living in the moment, right? If you optimize on those 3 areas, you live in a cheap apartment with a roommate, or better yet, house hack, which is I'm sure we can cover at some point in this, where you buy a place, rent it out, and live for free, and you buy a cheap car for cash or pay it off quickly and use that or bike or walk. If you travel hack, you can really save a tremendous amount, likely 50% or more of your income, if you just optimize in those 3 categories aggressively. And then you can actually spend in some of these other categories and have a good time and enjoy and live in the moment while still making rapid progress toward financial independence. The sacrifice or the big challenge is in making the decision in what you drive, where you sleep, and then what you eat. And if you make those 3 choices appropriately, you can have the other things, I believe, as well.
And that reminds me, I just read Ramit Sethi's new book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And that kind of sounds like what he was talking about there, where you need to have a conscious spending plan, where if you don't spend on the things that don't bring you a ton of happiness, like your house or, your food, that's probably not going to be a huge source of happiness for you. You can splurge and spend as much money as you want on the things you love. And I think that's absolutely a great point. That's all for this episode of Millennial Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.